गुड मॉर्निंग एवरीवन एंड फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आप सभी को स्वाधीनता दिवस की हार्दिक शुभकामनाएं. So today we have our special guest with us, Affan Shaikh, who is SD1 at Amazon. So thank you, Affan, and thank you everyone for joining us today. So talking about Affan, he has been a machine learning facilitator at DSC VIT Pune, and currently he is SD1 at Amazon, which is a quite tough job to crack. Previously, he was a full-time software analyst at Credit Suisse, which is a fintech firm. Today, we will be having an interaction with him, and he will be guiding us through all your questions. You can ask anything like preparation strategy, interview experience, resume building, literally anything related with the placements. So yeah, but just keep one thing in mind: the question should be framed properly, and no abusing words should be used. And so today, everyone here is quite excited to ask questions and get those doubts cleared from Fanvia. So without wasting your much time, let's start with the questions. And just a small thing, we will be taking some common questions one by one, and you have to raise your hands and put those questions in chat box also, and ask your question. So and try to keep your video on while you are asking your questions. So yeah, let's start with our first question from Vedant Potekar.
Vedangi, just 1 minute. So first thing was very happy Independence Day to each and every one of you. And yeah, I mean, I just wanted to give a more clear background about me. I've been like, she introduced me in the right way, but just to clear out more different things. I'm from VIT Pune. I'm not sure if everyone here is from VIT as well, but I'm from VIT Pune. And after that, I cracked up an off-campus opportunity at Credit Suisse. There I worked around 8 or 10 months. I was more into machine learning systems. I was working into NLP and everything. That's where I realized I need to move ahead in my career, jump to the next level. That's where Amazon reached out to me. And today I can proudly say I'm a proud Amazonian working as an SD1 there. So yeah, that's a bit of a background for me. For everyone who's asking the questions, it's okay if it's quite personal to you in the sense that you have some basic doubts, not just basic doubts, some personal doubts as to how to study and everything. Feel free to ask them, but definitely I'd want one thing from you guys is speak out, open up your video, be confident enough that 50 people are listening to me. I have that confidence that I can actually speak in front of 50 people. If you can speak out here in front of 50 people with your question, you would be pretty much comfortable doing that in front of one guy who is your interviewer. So I definitely want anyone asking a question to come on video, have a one-on-one word with me. Yeah, that's it. We can go ahead with the questions.
Yeah, we can start. So let's start with the question from Vedant Potekar first.
Hello.
Yeah, good morning. So I am basically a first year student. So I don't know exactly about the placement processes and what exactly the software engineers do in company. So can you explain it in detail?
So there are two parts to that. So I guess your question had two parts. First one is what is the placement procedure going on, and the second part is what engineers actually do. So I'll answer one after the other. So the first part, how your placements actually work. So you come into your first year, you catch up on general subjects which are general across all engineering, like ENTC, IT, Comp, MC, and all those guys are having the general subjects. That's where you will pick up some basic language. Let's say, for example, you pick up C++ and something. Now, when you move on to your second year, you will go into core subjects like data structures, OS, CND, BMS, and that's gonna also go to your third year as well. Now, from your transition to first year to second year and second year to third year, there might be some gaps, like you have summer holidays or something. That's where the first part, I would say, वहाँ से ही start होता है कि आपका placements क्या है, because वहाँ पे there is a good opportunity to work in industry, like internship opportunities होती है 2 months के लिए. So the first opportunity starts right after your first year, and that's where you can try for it. It's absolutely okay if you don't have one. I didn't have one. I just enjoyed my summer vacations that time. Now, after your second year, it's little recommended that you get one internship, because again, you don't want to waste your 2 months. Now, that's just part of the second year. Now, when you move on to your third year, that's where your placement, not exactly the placement season, first your internship season starts. I am talking with respect, in general, I'm talking. It's more, this happens in most of the colleges. So what's going to happen is in your third year, first semester, second semester, some companies are going to come to your campus. So there will be some off-campus opportunities. You have to sit for your interviews, and they will give you an internship opportunity. It can be either in 3 formats. So the first format is they'll give you a summer internship that will be between your gap of third year and fourth year. That's one way. The other way is they are going to give you some semester internships. That can be either the 7th sem, like final year ka first sem, or final year ka second sem. And the third way is they give you a summer plus a semester internship, which extends for 11 months. So that is also possible. Now, internships are converted into full times. That's one way. The other way is that in your final year, these companies are coming to your campuses or other off-campus opportunities. They will directly hire you, and you don't have to do any internship. You just have to join them after your engineering. So these are I would say these are the way the placement season takes place. It varies from college to college. Some college allow semester internships, some colleges don't allow that. So that's what happens when it comes to the placement season. Now, what exactly software engineers do? So it drops down to three things. Three things in the sense there are three types of companies. So I can start with I've worked in two of them. I've not worked with the third one. So the first one would be service-based companies. The second one would be product-based companies, and the third one would be investment banks. I've worked with investment banks. I'm currently working in a product-based company. I don't have any idea of a service-based company. I just have an overview. So starting with what an investment bank, a software engineer in an investment bank does, a software engineer there would actually build a system which would support trading and different investment activities across the finance domain. That is his task, to build out system that can support the trading and everything. When you come to product-based companies, that's where the software engineer itself is developing the product which is going to make money. Okay, in the first case, you're supporting a system which is going to make money. There are products which actually make money in finance as well, but it's little not everyone gets a chance to build a product in finance. That happens. Now when it comes to service-based companies, it is more like there are big companies, service-based companies, who actually take projects from different clients, and they have software engineers who are going to build them. So why exactly I told you three different things is because the most impact you could create on a product would be in a product-based companies, where you can actually what code you write, you can actually see it. Like if I am currently working at Amazon, I could actually see that thing on my Amazon app, like, hey, this is where I am working currently. My services ka literally dekh sakta ki I'm currently working on water heaters, so I can see those water heaters. So those are the three types of companies. Now, what work actually we do is, like I said, product-based. It's more about development of software products. More like for me, I'll tell you, in Amazon, I'm currently developing features of the Amazon.com itself. Like e-commerce ke jo different features launch hone wale, we are developing that. When you go to investment bank, there would be like, for example, how much stocks are there in my inventory. So tracking that, a developer is going to develop that kind of software. Now, this entirely is going to vary in a service-based company as to what kind of product or what kind of work we are going to do. So these are the three different things I think a software developer actually lands up his job into. So yeah, and regarding specifics to the work, you can practically say at companies like Amazon, you are just a full stack developer. When I had a word with my manager, I'll be very clear on his words. He told me one thing: when you are at Amazon, you have to talk to business, get the requirement, basically draw the architecture diagram, system design भी आपको ही करनी है, code भी आपको ही लिखना है, code की testing भी आपको करनी है, testing के बाद maintenance भी आपको ही करना है, और deployment भी आपको करना है, फिर maintenance भी आपको ही करना है. So that is where you grow overall as an engineer. I would say anyone working at companies like Amazon is a full stack developer. He has to work and talk to many people. It's not just like I'll tell you this, 70% of the time we are going to just discuss what has to be done, how it is going to be done, what are the exceptions, how problem solving needs to be done there. And the rest 30% of the time we are coding. So yeah, that happens in a product based.
Yeah. You have given really a good idea to any first year guy who is listening to this today, because it becomes really very important for anyone in first year to know what are the things that he or she will be facing in the coming years. So
Right.
yeah. So now we'll move towards our next question from Vaidehi.
Hello, sir.
Right.
Generally, people say DSE is very important for placement. According to you, what should be the ideal time to prepare for it?
Okay, so definitely DSA is is actually important, and why do people even take DSAs in interview? Just for an example, like you never know what the company is going to use the tech stack. There are hundreds of products inside the company. Today they are using React. Tomorrow some other library will come. They'll change to Angular. Somewhere they'll use Java. Somewhere they'll go up with C++. Somewhere they go on to cloud computing and do something different, right? So what kind of people they want is they want engineers who can solve problems. Okay, anyone can actually write code, but only a few people can write clean code which is understandable by other people, right? So DSA में क्या होता है कि आपकी skills, basically the problem solving skills which you have, those are evaluated. So DSA becomes a very necessity when it comes to interview. Let's say, for example, if I test you out on React JS or something like that, you might have done it in your internships or you might have done it in your project work and everything. But the other guy, he is very good at his basics. It would be easier for the other guy to move on to different tech stack and different work I'm going to give to him, because I have not pre-decided that this particular guy is going to come in and he's going to, like, the interview is not just taken on the basis of what kind of tech stack you are going to work on. It is not pre-decided, because you can stay at the company for 5-6 years. इतना तो predict नहीं कर सकते ना कि first month में इसको ये task होगा, second month में वो task. So eventually it drops down to how much of an engineer you are, how much problem solving you can do. When I say problem solving, it's not just about writing code, it's more to it. How can you communicate with your team? Do you take situations where you actually feel, what if this product is deployed in a live situation? What are the different possible challenges it is going to face? Like if you want to go with a very simple example, let's take, if you want to design an API of 2 numbers, okay, addition of 2 numbers, a simple code would be just return A plus B. But an engineer working at Amazon would think, what if the first number is null? What will I do in that case? What will be null plus 5? The second possible case would be, what if the numbers are passed as string? Because I didn't strongly type the language. I was using Python, so उसके अंदर वो directly pass हो गया. उसको मैंने कुछ data type specify नहीं किया. So these are situations where your problem solving skills are evaluated, and that's where DSA is very important. So I would definitely say, don't leave that. Having said that, doesn't mean development is not the necessity. It's parallelly, both things need to be.
Yeah. And in which year we should start for preparing?
Okay, so in your first year, I'd recommend, see, there are actually, there are different pathways. Like some would go with development, some would go with DSA from the first year. I started it from the second year. The earlier that you start, the better it is. But I'd recommend, like, what happens is first year, you are not exposed to that data structures ka subject. It usually comes in second year. So you don't have any idea about how stack, queues and everything are implemented. So during that time in your first year, I would suggest build some products or build some good projects which with technologies you are aware about. Like for example, you might be just aware about Java. You might be just aware about Python. So do something good with that. Once that data structure ka subject starts, I'd not say wait for that, but definitely what happens is you need to get a base idea of all the data structures you have. What are hash maps, queues, arrays, and links? That usually happens in second year, first semester. It varies from college to college again, but yeah, definitely second year is the minimum time you should start. If you're starting in first year, it's pretty good, but even if you start in your second year, it's absolutely okay. But definitely don't push it to your third year. It will stress you a lot during your placement season, because during your placement, it's not just about creating a binary search tree. It's about using it in a situation where there are actual numbers being put inside that binary search tree. Yeah. So it's better you do it in your second year itself.
Thank you, sir.
As we have started our discussion with the DSLO preparation, so I'm sure there must be much more questions related with this. So let's take our next question from Vedashi.
Hello.
Hi.
Does the importance of DSA is varied for different companies? Like for example, Credit Suisse versus Amazon?
Okay. I shouldn't compare this on a live event, but yeah, let's talk about it. So yes, it definitely varies a lot from company to company. Like if you go into some startups, they're more concerned about what your technical development skills are. But if you go to companies like Amazon and everything, they are concerned about what is on your what is your problem solving skills, what are you as an engineer, and the projects basically. They'll not grind you on something you haven't worked about. But when you go to a startup, उनका क्या होता है, वो internships के लिए जब आपको लेते हैं, they have a specific requirement. We need a guy who's going to do Android development. So they are expecting someone, like they are going to give 2 months internship. They don't have that much money to bring out tens of 20 of folks and have a internship program. What they do is they'll find out someone who's already into Android and then give him that internship. So yeah, definitely varies a lot from company to company as to how much of DSA is required. If if I compare my interviews at Credit Suisse and Amazon, at my interviews at Credit Suisse, it was completely based on artificial intelligence because I went through in hackathon. For my friends, the questions were pretty straightforward, like create a binary search tree and something like that. But when I went to Amazon, my questions were way different level. In one of my interviews, one of my questions was having 6 recursion calls in the one single code itself. Usually what happens is you call the left child, you call the right child. I was having 6 different recursion calls. So yes, definitely it varies. You should get that idea from different experiences. Like I'll tell you one thing. If you go to an interview with Google, it's 45 minutes interview. They'll in that 45 minutes interview, usually they do ask about projects and computer science fundamentals. But what happens is that major part is focused on problem solving. But in my interviews at Amazon, one thing I observed was it was not just problem solving. It was me being evaluated on computer science fundamentals, my projects, my experience, what I've done. I was even evaluated on the fact how do I learn. I was even evaluated on how I learn things. So that's where I told them I didn't just go and get up a course. Rather, I prefer reading blogs and on the fly learn tech stack. So yeah, definitely it varies from company to company, and you have to get that what kind of how much level is asked using those interview experiences. I hope that answers you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
That's really cool. So yeah, we'll take our next question from Vedant Zori.
Hello, first of all, hello Affan. I'm Vedant
Yeah.
Sore from VIT Pune. And I want to ask you one question. I'm so confused because the internship drives is also coming into college and they are taking the coding round as well. So is it better to solve 450 questions DSS sheet of love bubbers in order to crack the coding round?
Okay, so I usually don't take anyone's name. I'm not answering this question with respect to anyone's name. Let's make that clear. But yes, I'll definitely answer that question. So see, it's not about whether you solve 450 questions or not. It's basically about whether you understand when you're solving a particular question, when you're solving a particular data structure. It's about whether you are able to use it into multiple problems. Then it doesn't matter whether it's 450, whether it's 180, whether it's any number of things. Like for example, I'll tell you frankly, I don't have a Codeforce or CodeChef account. I never went into hackathons there. That was something which I didn't do, but I used to time out my own preparations. Okay, so I wouldn't say doing that is the only way, and I wouldn't say that after doing that it won't ever happen. It varies from person to person, but what I would recommend is use that as a reference. Whoever has created it might have thought before creating it. There are other lists as well. I have even mentioned that in one of my resources. So definitely use that, but don't be of just opinion that, hey, this is what I'm going to do and boom, I'm going to crack every interview. The number of problems don't define your problem solving ability. It's just that I mean, the problem solving skills are different and solving number of questions are different. I just have had around 270 to 80 questions solved on LeetCode. I never even reached 400. But if you come onto my Google Doc, there you will find like I've hand coded literally on my Google Doc. I have 120 plus pages of code written by my own self. And on one page, I used to write 2 questions, roughly like. So yeah, definitely you should do it if you think that you cannot find what to do next. If you think that, hey, instead of going on to LeetCode and randomly selecting problems, I'll follow something. I'll follow a structured pattern. That is good, but that being said, it is not guaranteed it will always work out for you. What I used to do, I'll tell you. I usually what I did was I covered my entire preparation, and then one of the list came from someone else. So what I did was I picked up that list, and half of the problems were already solved. So I tried to find out problems from there which were different, and I didn't see them before. So वहाँ से I tried to trace down stack के अंदर इतने सारे different types of problems है, and I tried to make sure that I was not missing on anything. So I would recommend you, if you think that you are going in a random direction, like you are not, like for me it was not random direction, because what I did was, for my preparation I started with listing down all the data structures. Okay, data structures are hash maps, queues, linked list, arrays, DPs, backtracking. I listed them down. Then I rated myself. Hey Affan, you are not doing good in dynamic programming, you're not good at graphs, you should practice that. And for practicing those, I referred some good, like those lists, and I checked out what are the different types of problems in graph which I should do it. Now what people do, generally I've seen it, like they follow that particular list and they go out for an interview hoping that it will actually benefit. It definitely benefit, but it's not guaranteed. And one more thing is, don't sequentially follow, because see, you are doing there are 20 dynamic problem questions, you've solved 10 of them, you will definitely solve the 11th one, because your mindset and your context is that only, that you've been doing 10 problems from the past 3 days. So वो context आ जाता है. But same अगर आपको randomly interview में कोई DP का question पूछता है, so वो context रहता नहीं है. So during that time you are just going to go crazy. Hey, I had solved this problem, but I'm not able to do it right now. So what I used to do is, I used to simultaneously take 3 data structures, I used to go with 2 stacks, and I used to hit out on random problems from a structured list, so that I know what I am studying. At the same time, I'm keeping it random such that my mind is not in that context how to solve stack. Isliye I was able to solve the 11th problem of stack. So I'd recommend that follow that list, but don't do it sequentially. Take one problem for array, directly jump to graph, do that problem, and see how your brain gets tickled. So that way you can do it.
Yes, and also I have second question, like does data structures and algorithms are enough to crack the technical interview?
No, definitely no. It is more than that. Even if you are very good with your DS algos, so there are 3 aspects, okay? So the first aspect is your computer science fundamentals. OS, CN, DBMS, object-oriented programming. This is very important. The second aspect is your projects. Whatever kind of projects you've done, you should be able to answer questions on those. People usually don't. People usually get stunned, like, "Hey, how come he can ask me that question? I never thought it from this angle." So that happens. So projects are very important. And third thing is where problem solving comes. And DS algos is part of that third thing, which is problem solving. And when I say problem solving ka part hai wo, there are other aspects to problem solving. How effectively can you communicate with your interviewer? Do you really take into consideration different scenarios which can happen for your problem? Okay. Can you speak out your thoughts? I'm continuously speaking from the last 15, 20, 24 minutes. Would you be able to do that in front of an interview for 1 complete hour? Would you be able to see? There's one way, like you are thinking right now that I'm going to do a DFS. Can you explain him why did you start thinking about DFS in that particular situation? So it's not just DS algos, it's problem solving, projects that includes your development skills, and eventually your computer science fundamentals. It's a mixture of all these 3 things.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ashman.
That's quite insightful to hear. So let's move towards our next question from Harshal. Harshal Kausadikar.
But the last question, I observed one thing I'd like to teach every one of you. In the industry, nobody calls each other sir. There were people who were 30 years experienced, and I am just a fresher with 1 year of experience. I used to call them out with name. So I'd recommend everyone to use that thing. Whenever you're pinging on LinkedIn to anyone, talking to people in the industry, we do have a common trend which is there. People talk to each other with names. I even call my manager Orko. So I directly talk with him. Okay, he has 10 years experience than me. So yeah.
Yeah. So Harshal.
हेलो भैया, मेरी आवाज आ रही है आपको?
Yeah, I can hear you.
हाँ, तो अभी आपने क्रेडिट स्विस, अमेजोन ऐसे अलग अलग कंपनीज का नाम लिया, लेकिन मुझे तो कुछ पता नहीं है कि कौन सी कंपनी क्या करती है, तो ये डिटेल्स में कहाँ से समझूं?
So I'll start with from where you should actually know which first thing is you have to be concerned about companies which are possible for you. Let's take for example आपके campus पे like India में Facebook hire ही नहीं करता है, so it doesn't make sense to think about it. So first thing you do is you check out your campus list. What are the different companies coming to my campus? Okay, the next thing is उनके हर कंपनी का एक पेज होता है जिसपे अबाउट सेक्शन लिखा होता है. अबाउट सेक्शन के अंदर you will definitely know everything about the company. That's one way. Now पहले आपने आपके कैंपस के देख लिया, then try to find out what are the different off campus opportunities for my particular batch in the next coming 1 year. इसके मैंने LinkedIn पे पोस्ट लिखा है how to find opportunities. You can find there. Then what you can do is you've read the about section, you got to know about the company, then you can basically go on to Glassdoor, उसके reviews पढ़ सकते हो, what kind of things, what is the culture and everything. Blind करके क्या पे, but I think it's for corporate. You can definitely open that thing and check out some reviews about the companies. Quora के ऊपर आपको पता चलता है क्या क्या है companies के बारे में. So and definitely don't have an opinion just because one particular person thinks XYZ about a thing. You should read more than at least 20-30 reviews, because I've seen one thing. It's not just your company which is going to decide your entire career or decide your entire culture, I would say. It is the team, it is the manager, it is your overall the director level ka team, it is the business unit you are into, and on top of that it is the company. Okay, so whenever you want to hunt about these things, talk to 10 to 5 people who are actually working there. You can ping people on LinkedIn in a very polite and professional way. Ask them what is the culture there, and show your curiosity that you are interested in that company. They will definitely reply. I mean, as far as I've done, people have replied to me. 10 में से 8 लोग reply तो करते ही है. 2 of them just ignore it. But I don't do that anymore. I used to do it in Credit Suisse. So these are a couple
Yeah.
of basic ways you can do this.
Yeah, that's good to hear. So because it is really a natural question that anyone can have if in mind if he is a noob in that particular field.
Right.
So yeah. So next question is from Akash.
Sir, I want to ask that means for data science or machine related any placement or a job opportunity, there is need of DSL go.
I don't think I'm the right person to answer that question because I am not a data scientist or a machine learning engineer. I'm a software engineer who is working in that domain. That is a different thing. But I'll definitely recommend out a few things. So check out the market and decide whether you want to go into that field, whether there is a ton number of job opportunities available or not. Now coming to the DSA part. So in general, 80-90% of the companies which are hiring engineers, they are hiring them as software engineers, not as machine learning engineers. When I wanted to go for machine learning engineering, become a machine learning engineer, people suggested me 2 paths. One was get your hands on for 4 years of core software engineering and shift into that domain of machine learning. That was one particular way. The second particular way was go for a master's and do a specialization in machine learning, and from there you will get the right jobs. But as far as your concern about DSA is required, I never gave core machine learning interviews for machine learning engineer, so I cannot directly comment about it. But I'll direct you to a person who I've seen on YouTube. There's one YouTube channel, QnA. So I just searched about QnA. This guy's been talking about data science. But I definitely recommend one thing. If you want to work in machine learning, have an understanding what the market is. What looks trending might not pay you that much. That's the reality. But I would say, like, see what happens is one of the posts which when I was in my final year, I had just shared one of the posts from a software engineer at Microsoft, a senior software engineer. So that guy brought up some statistics back in 2020. He had written that So according to that statistics, like there are 10,000 students who are aspiring for becoming a machine learning engineer, but when it comes to industry giving machine learning engineer jobs, was just 100 only. In that also you are going to face competition from people who have specialization in MTech and everything. MTech करके AI के अंदर जिन्होंने specialization किया है, there IITs से जो लोग हैं उसमें भी वो सब भी आने वाला है. So be very careful on which domain you decide. For me, it's go into software engineering, have that big peak of software engineering, and put that machine learning ka cherry on top of it. So I do that. So I've told my manager as well, whenever you find anything related to machine learning, please let me know. And he's very happy. I mean, our culture is damn amazing. You get to choose what you want to work for. So whenever a new thing is going to come up in machine learning in my team, I'm going to definitely opt for it. So I prefer the other way rather than going for a machine learning engineer.
Thank you, Affan. And I want to ask that if I have the knowledge of finance, means I am also a part-time trader. Then I want to ask that if means I don't have the core knowledge of finance, but have basic of that. So while interviewer can ask a DSA related question when I want to go for iBanking.
Okay, so when you come into investment banking and you want to work as a technology analyst there, they definitely will ask you software engineering questions. Whereas having that extra part of finance knowledge will definitely give you a bonus. Like what happens is when you are talking to that company, you can actually relate what you have a context about how trading works, right? You know what investment banking is, what bonds are, what stocks are, what options are, ये सब क्या होता है, repos क्या होता है, वो सब you have an idea about it. It will act as a plus point. But if you are going for technology analyst role like the one I went, it would definitely, the deciding factor would be your software engineering skills, not your just your finance skills. It will act as a plus point, but you need to have a base of software engineering first. Yeah, I hope that answers your question, because I've not given core finance interviews. See, what engineers do is they go into companies and become technology analysts. They work for trading firms and build software. They don't decide what trading would happen. Like यहाँ से इतना लेना है, वहाँ पर इतना sell करना है. They don't decide that. For that, there are business analysts present, and so yeah, that's how things work. So it would be a plus point, but the deciding factor would be your software engineering skills.
Sai Saket Chintada is the next person in the queue.
Yeah, I was a civil engineering student. Actually, I just finished my final year. I just want to get into software field. I was learning some skills: Python, Java, JavaScript, CSS, HTML, JS Node, React JS. I was already learning these kind of skills. I just want to get into bigger companies like Microsoft, Amazon, Apple. Is it possible?
So one of my friends,
And also,
yeah, go ahead.
Just a minute. Also a question: is it possible to get into that kind of companies without campus recruitment? In my college, there is no campus recruitment. That's why.
Cool. So first thing is, one of my friends, he's from instrumentation. That's again non-IT field. It's not even ENTC, it's instrumentation. So he has got into Red Hat. I had made a contact with one of the means. I had a contact at the hiring manager, and I had put up a referral for him. So from my experience, I've seen people do it, but it's actually tough. I don't want to give you just false hopes, but I want to tell you the truth. What I can suggest is, let's look at it in this format. Definitely off-campus opportunities explicitly specify comp IT. At the max, they'll go to ENTC. You might have even seen this. That being said, doesn't mean you don't get an opportunity. What you can do is start with building your skills first. Start getting some experience, like full stack development ke projects वगैरह बना लो. Now I'll tell you one thing. There are hundreds of YouTube channels available from where you can learn. So first, get your skills right. Get a core language like Java या C++ में आप बहुत अच्छा कर लो. Python सीख लेना, and then eventually go and build your projects. Build websites, I would say. won't directly be called by Amazon, Facebook, or the big companies, but definitely some startups might be interested to you. First, go into those startups and build yourself as a software engineer, because from the past 4 years you have been building yourself as a civil engineer. आप पहले एक स्टार्टअप में जाके आपका करियर स्टार्ट करो. There shouldn't be any gap. By any means, you should make sure. Yeah. So फर्स्ट थिंग आप स्टार्टअप में चले जाओ, वहाँ पे 1-2 साल काम कर लेना. नाउ वंस यू हैव 1 or 2 years of experience, then you can definitely come across and apply to companies like Red Hat doesn't care about branch. Amazon ka I'm not sure, I don't remember the basic qualifications wala. So you can, okay, I'll only talk in English. Yeah. So for Amazon, I'm not sure what exactly the criteria is. It depends on the job ID. You open up the job ID and check what the job ID says about whether it's only like bachelor's in computer science or related fields, or whether it explicitly says bachelor's in only computer science. And then once you have that 2 years of industry experience in a startup as a software engineer, then your chances would increase. Then you can not necessarily direct jump, won't be there to Microsoft or Amazon only, but again you can move to a better company from a startup, like middle companies who pay a good amount of salary. And from there you now are a specialized engineer, you're a senior software engineer with which where you have 3 to 4 years of experience. Then definitely you will be allowed to give interviews at these companies. Right now, you can definitely try one thing, cold emailing would work for you. But again, it depends on the company. Try out with companies where you have seen people do it. I can explicitly say this, Red Hat does that. One of my friends from Instru got there. So Red Hat would do that. Find out such companies. Also find out some startups which would do that for you. And eventually start your job into IT, grow there, and then move out to bigger companies. But just I'll tell you one thing, a real fact. Don't compare this goes for everyone in general. Don't just compare your career lines with everyone else. It's absolutely okay to, in the worst case, now you're in your final, you couldn't get an internship at the biggest company in your college. It's absolutely okay. You might end up getting the biggest package of your college. Okay, so just because you were in civil, you couldn't do that IT thing, that won't matter right now. It's okay that even after 4 years you land up into Amazon or big companies, rather than someone who is from IT and he's stuck at some XYZ company from the start only. Till 10 years he is there only and he's not progressing, he's not learning, the learning curve is not there. So yeah, I would suggest go ahead, go and start with the startup. Go to startup, they'll definitely consider you. But they also need basic skills. Like what happens is startups, like I said, they hire for some basic skill role, right? If the startup is in Android, they'll hire for Android. If they're developing a website, they'll hire for Angular, React, whatever. So try to build project around those technologies, saying that you've actually done this. You can add some value there and adjust with the pay for the first year. That's absolutely okay. You don't want that career gap to come in your life. And don't compare your career lines with anyone. There is a high chance that you guys, like who are listening to me right now, might end up being a CEO of some company, and I might join your company. That is also possible. It's absolutely, it's absolutely different for each and everyone's. Career lines are different. Don't compare it with your friends. Go ahead with your career and have that target 4 years down the line. I want to crack. I want to get into Amazon. First target is I want to start up job as a software engineer. Second target is try for Amazon directly. If not possible, go into a middle class software company, middle level. From there, jump to Amazon. And once you come into the IT industry, you'll realize opportunities are tons of opportunities. So yeah, definitely you can come in.
Yeah, it's quite motivating for the students of non-CSIT background for different branches. So yeah.
Thanks, Affan and
Sai, people have done it, you will also do it. Just make sure you are at it. For just one thing, yeah, if people are taking out, IT guys are getting direct opportunities. So I'll tell you what happens is civil guys are saying we don't get a chance like the ENTC folks who get 3 or 4 companies into IT. ENTC folks are complaining we don't get opportunities like Comp IT. ComBody folks are complaining Google, Amazon, Facebook don't come to our campus. Where Google, Amazon, Facebook comes, they say that, hey, what, those USK companies don't come to our campus. So that thing is everywhere, but it's just about that when you get that opportunity, like I got Amazon, do you change it into an offer? That would make the difference.
Yeah. So let's move to our next question from Sachin Madhurkar.
Hello, Affan.
Hey, hi, Sachin.
So I'm asking that apart from DSA and computer basics, the projects are already matter to the in company like Amazon and Google. So right now I'm working as an intern in Lab company. So I'm thinking of that to make a big project in React.js. Like, should I make a Netflix clone or Facebook clone, or should I make my own idea and do a project on this, which is been
Uh,
grateful for
yeah.
project.
So first thing is it depends on how much comfortable you are with your particular tech stack. If you're very comfortable, you have a good idea to go ahead and bring out build up your own idea. But if you think you're a beginner and you don't know how things are working, you don't know state management kya hota hai and stuff like that. What you can basically do is go up to YouTube and like people are creating some clones. So go up to 5 different YouTubers creating a Netflix clone. Pick up one thing from here, pick up second thing from here, pick up fourth thing, fifth thing. ऐसे करके build up that thing. Using different things, try to merge them. At any point in both the cases, try to make sure your learning curve is high. But definitely, what happens is I'll tell you, like if you end up making your own projects, and if you don't criticize it in the right way, like you might think that you've built up a particular idea very good, but there might be loopholes. So what you do is first decide on what suits you best. Are you going to go ahead with this as a project, or you're looking to build this as a product? That's where you will decide whether you want to just, if you just want to go for a simple project, you just want to do learning skills, you're not interested to get that as a product, you don't want to put it as a core skill on your resume, then it's good to go with clones and everything. Follow some YouTubers, find out some clones, mix up different things. If that's not possible, you know that you want to build an entire product, better you go with your own idea.
So should I? I'm not bit comfortable to build my own project. So it is good if I make Netflix clone or any other clone.
Yeah, it's better because what happens is there are features like different features like recommendation and everything, and when someone is teaching you that, you are seeing that for the first time. If you want to do that in your own project, you never know how to do it, so you might end up screwing things. So it's better to first learn. That's what I'm saying. It depends on how much comfortable you are with the tech stack, how much you already learned. Take that first, decide according to that, and I definitely recommend building some clones definitely gives you an edge. You are building something which is actually a real life application, and I mean similar to real life application, you will understand what the flow is, how the UX is changing, why it is like you are not able to, what are the different features you're not able to build up, what are the different features you are able to build up. So yes, definitely, if you're not comfortable, not that skilled right now, go ahead with building out some clones.
Yes.
Thank
And
you,
it's a key learning that you have said, try to convert your project into a product. So
Yeah.
that's an amazing thing. Yeah, let's move to our next question, that is from Snehal Samale.
Yeah, good morning, Affan.
Hey, hi.
Yeah, so my question is how to approach software jobs or internships through off-campus mode.
Okay, so one very important thing is when it comes to off campus, that's basically LinkedIn. It plays an important role. I'll start with the first thing. I've actually written down a post on it. If you go there, you'll find out ways to do it. So the first important thing on LinkedIn is, so Snail, try to understand it from this sense. If I'm in your batch, I'm getting an off-campus opportunity, or I'm your senior, I got an off-campus opportunity at Credit Suisse through that global coding challenge. You are in my network. You saw me that Affan got a off-campus opportunity at Credit Suisse. He's 1 year ahead of me, so next year I will get this opportunity. So the first important thing, network plays an important role. If you have the right amount of people in your network, different opportunities are going to pop up for you. You will see people doing that off campus opportunity. That's one thing. Second thing, just go to YouTube, type out off campus and click enter. Off campus hiring. Itna hi type kar lo. You'll get tons of videos and you just have to replicate the process. That particular guy, he first applied on the career portal, then he got a coding round, and then things happened. That opened up in October. So you have to keep that in mind that October mein is waqt pe, this particular opportunity is going to open up. That particular guy went in through the DBS hackathon. From DBS hackathon, he was called for interviews. So that's the second way. The third way is there are groups on Telegram. There are multiple groups. If you just go on off campus, you'll find a list of groups. Just subscribe them. Keep applying. I'll definitely say I used to apply 10 to 15 jobs a day. Not everyone replies you back. Not everyone selects your resume, but definitely within 1 or 2 weeks, you'll hear out from 1 or 2 people at least. So that happens. Then one more thing is, this is a very good technique which I wanted to do. I didn't get a chance, but actually my juniors actually did that. So what you can do is go to your campus. Go to your campus placement coordinator, and they actually share a list of all the students which were placed which were placed last year. So if today is 2021, so in 2020, what were the different students placed and at which companies? You reach out to them, and on LinkedIn, tell them that you are from the same college and ask them that are there any hiring going on. A few of my colleagues just got job, like 2021 grads. They got job because they had contacts in the companies. Their senior were in companies which actually hire off campus. So they just reached out to them. They just put in a referral and the process started. So the best thing to do is get your list. Which companies came to my campus? Where are they? What are the off-campus opportunities for my batch? What are the off-campus opportunities happening for the next, for my previous batch? Like I would check for 2019 batch. I remember on LinkedIn what happened was 2019, during the 2019 batch, I literally saw 100 to 200 people posting that they got Amazon SD1 in general, in total. So that's where I marked Amazon SD1 like, hey, it's gonna be 6 months plus experience at Credit Suisse, and then I'm going to go for Amazon. Eventually they reached out to me. I didn't have to apply. So having the right network matters a lot. And fourth thing, which is very important, is university recruiters. University recruiters, they tend to post openings which are going to come off campus. So follow them. They won't accept your connection. That's absolutely okay. It's about following and knowing about things. It's not always about getting to just talk with people. And one more thing is, like, there are few people on LinkedIn who have taken this up to post out job opportunities. There is a guy called Arsh Goyal, Kushal Vijay. Kushal ke saath I've done a podcast as well. And a few more like Rahul S, Gopinath S. I don't remember the names. In my post, if you read what are the different ways to get opportunities, you will find them. So what these guys are doing, they're constantly posting out opportunities, how you can get off campus, what are the different openings ready. So what happens is, I'll be very frank with you, in a year, more than 50 opportunities would come up for you. Now, it's not about whether you are going to get that opportunity. It's about, you will definitely get at least 20 to 30 of them would come for you. Now it's about whether you are able to convert it into an offer. That would matter. Now it's like everything is saturated. It was during our time that we didn't have any mentors. We didn't have any community sort of thing where we could just, a notification would come up. It was my college hackathon. In college, Credit Suisse came, and I was searching about Credit Suisse. Then I got to know that a global coding challenge is going on. So you guys are very lucky. You've got a great community, great YouTubers teaching you a lot of things. Absolutely amazing time to, pick up yourself and move to the next level. I hope that answers your question. I mean, I've given out a couple of ways.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Affan.
Yeah.
Just you have to be active about the opportunities and apply. So that's the thing. Yeah. Next question is from Syed Muzahe Dali. Are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, Affan sir, and ma'am. Good morning to you, and happy Independence Day to all of you. My question to Afnan sir is how to manage the time and academics and self development skills, and how to differentiate self development. Everyone has its major. Like one person is moved towards the data science, and one X person towards ML, and to get into that major field we have to crack the company, and to crack the company you have to develop the software development skills to how to differentiate and build ourselves in that manner, and how to balance these two aspects simultaneously. And the next one is what are the soft skills required to interact people in the professional manner, and is there are internships mandatory for the placement, or is it only a bonus point? And the last thing is how you build your logic building ability in solving DS algo questions. And you have been consistent in talking like since 11 o'clock, and you are more understandable. So how we can develop these habit of talking continuously without any breaks and loops? So, and that's what I have.
Yeah. So I'll start with one thing. First of all, why when I'm able to communicate effectively with and very confident in front of 65, 66 people, not scared about whether I'll make a mistake or not. So let's begin with how these things grow up. I was in my first year. I was told to come up on stage in front of my class and just speak about myself. That was where I was shivering. That happened, but later it was more of I have to do something about it. I started with my own community, DSC. We started that in our college. I started teaching people. It started building in myself. It was not one day process. It is not a month's process. I think it's my entire engineering which brought me to this level of communicating effectively with people. At one point, I clearly remember there was ML Fest and 300 students were sitting in auditorium, and I had the mic. And as a matter of fact, I didn't prepare any speech. I was told like it was more of, hey, I have to do it because I was pretty much managing the event. That's where I just realized one thing. If I have that logic inside me, I can effectively communicate it. I'm not gonna get scared. So when a person can stand in front of 300 people and talk about his logic, which he's going to explain about machine learning, what is an unsupervised algorithm, what is a supervised algorithm, why would he even be scared to talk in front of just 60 people, or why would he even be scared to talk in front of his interviewer? That what changed me a lot. There are ways you can do that. Start giving mocks with your friends. Try to talk to English with your family as well, I would say. I see people saying that language doesn't matter. Yes, it doesn't matter, but the conceptual point you should be able to effectively communicate is in the right manner. And what happens is everyone is using English, right? So eventually you cannot tell your interviewer that, hey, can you understand me in Hindi? Because when I gave my Google interviews, there were people from London, there were people from Canada, there were people from Mountain View and Pittsburgh, somewhere there. I don't remember the names exactly. They were not even able to, they were so fast with their accent, I was not able to catch up what the name was. So it is something which doesn't imply your logic, but it definitely matters in communication. So communicating will definitely make a change. One thing I didn't do that, I'll be very frank, but I was going through some YouTube videos looking at what people say about this, because both bar these questions used to come. This is not my advice, this is I've heard from someone, and I think it would definitely work for you as well. Go into your room, close the door, and start reading out loudly. Take pauses where you know there's a comma. Take a full stop where there's a full stop. Read out loud, and see, one thing is, if you are learning a concept, if you're learning deadlock, try to explain it to your friend and see if he is able to understand it. Try to explain it to someone who never heard about it and see if you can do that. If you are not able to do that, you are actually struggling with it. If you are able to do that, you're pretty good with it. start with that. I remember teaching around 8 to 10 people dynamic programming for 3 hours. We used to start at 9, I used to end at 12. Literally, I used to teach them inside matrices, like what would be the values there. I used to teach them in that way. So when I used to teach people about DS algos back then it wouldn't be tough for me to just explain it to an interviewer who already knows what the solution is, right? So that's one thing I would really give marks, talk out loud. And yeah, so I guess you asked 4 questions. I'm not able to recall what those 4 are. So I guess I answered one of your question, that was communication. What are the remaining 2 or 3?
The second was what are the required professional soft skills that one needs to develop in themselves? And the third one was how you build your logic building skills in solving the DSRU questions. It's not the first one and first go, like logic building needs some practice. So how you cultivate implementing
Yeah,
the
I'll answer the first one and the second one as well. So the first one regarding communication skills, I completely understand that it's very, very important. So effective communication is one thing. Then being to the point, because I've seen when people talk about like you've come to a meeting, there's an agenda decided, you're diverting from it. You're going and discussing out different things. So that's a second soft skill, I would say. Be to the point. Don't divert it. If you want to talk about something else, set up some different time. And you have to, I think you have to develop yourself as an engineer, and those skills, those soft skills which are there, those will eventually develop. I specifically, I don't want to lie on this one, I want to be very clear. I never sat down and thought about what my soft skills are, whether I'm able to communicate in the right way or not. I gave mocks, I talked with people, I taught people, I talked in different communities, I gave podcast, and I reached this level. You start doing that, you start teaching your friends, you start teaching them about different technologies and stuff, you would seriously, and you will seriously start seeing that difference in you. The problem with people is they don't usually, like whenever they communicate with your friends and everyone, they try to use their native language. That's absolutely okay, but if you are struggling with it, like I'm not struggling with it, so I am okay with talking to my friends in Hindi, Marathi. But if you're struggling with it, then it's preferred that start talking in English, you'll develop. So communication skills, I don't think I explicitly focused on communication skills.
Yeah.
Development over time. Over the time it develops, and eventually when you come to the industry, you'll realize what it is. It's just effective communication. Yeah.
The next question is from Tanusha.
Aniket Tadets.
Okay, Aniket.
I'm coming from mechanical engineering background, but I have a lot of interest in machine learning, and I have already started learning it, like scikit-learn and TensorFlow. What are the ML opportunities for me since I'm coming from mechanical engineering?
It's actually very rare to find ML opportunities for you. I'll be very frank on that, because what happens is companies, like I said, they are hiring for software engineering profiles. The ML engineers are ones who have specializations. What you are trying to learn, scikit-learn and TensorFlow, that is done after you have cracked the interview. That is done on the job. That is not something which gets you the job. Okay, so there are 2 parts. One is cracking that interview, and one is actually doing that job. When you are trying to prepare for that job, you are missing that part where that interview is coming. So that interview would focus on more aspects. Like even if you get a core machine learning interview at a startup, they would not just ask you whether you know scikit-learn or TensorFlow. They will ask you questions like, what is the pipeline of a machine learning project? Like, for example, they'll ask, and if that at that point, if you say you're going to take the data set, you're going to pre-process and just build a model and deploy it, that's not going to work. There are more aspects to it. When I was working at Credit Suisse, we were more of like 15, I guess 1 or 2 months, I was just pre-processing the data. So it's, I would say, learn more about how machine learning systems work, how you can develop an end-to-end pipeline rather than just libraries. And there are the opportunities as far as I've seen. I cannot speak for everyone, but as far as I've seen, direct opportunities for saying that come in as a machine learning engineer, we will test you on your algorithm, how much good you are with backpropagation, whether you understand what is MLM, mass language modeling, do you understand how BERT is there, FinBERT क्या होता है, ऐसे questions के साथ interviews I've rarely seen it. If they are there, they'll go to some specialized people who are actually from having specialization in MTech and IITs and stuff like that. So be very careful on what choice you have. You can definitely come into software and then move into a machine learning role. I hope that answers your question.
Okay. I got my answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tanusha.
Hi, Bhaiya.
Yeah, hi.
My question is that when should I start getting active on LinkedIn? Because currently I have I am on LinkedIn, but I rarely open it. So
I'm sorry, you are on LinkedIn and?
I rarely open it.
Okay. So I would suggest start it as soon as possible. You don't want to miss out on opportunities. Your friends are just able to get it because they are active on LinkedIn. And it's very much recommended you do it in your first year. What's going to happen is your network, the size of your network is going to tell you what different opportunities you are going to get. For example, a few of my friends, they got placed at XYZ company through some hackathon. I got to know because of them. So that's gonna matter a lot. For me, I'll tell you, when I was at Credit Suisse, my LinkedIn network was 3,000. When I joined Amazon, now it's 21,000. So I would definitely want that same thing to happen with each and every one of you. I'd recommend start it right now.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. The next question is from Yadnesh.
Hi, Affan.
Yeah, hi.
Am I audible?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So my question is, when we try for off-campus placements, often our resume doesn't get shortlisted. Can you please tell us some insights when it comes to making a good resume?
Okay. So first important thing is you should match the basic qualification. So a job ID will have three aspects. First is the about section, second is the basic qualifications, third is the preferred qualifications. First thing which should definitely match completely is the basic qualifications. Basic qualification, like if you're going out for let's take for example, if you're going out for internships, they will say currently enrolled in penultimate year of engineering, that's the third year. That should checkbox hona chahiye wahan pe. You should be good with, they'll say like must have knowledge of one of the programming languages like C++, Java. You should explicitly mention that on your resume. So first thing, basic qualification should map to your resume at any cost. Okay, that's the requirement. The second aspect is preferred section. Preferred qualifications should be there as much as possible. You shouldn't lie on your resume, but as much as possible, try to put it there. Now the third aspect is you have written you are good with Java. Your skills are in C++, Java. You've written that languages, but you haven't testified it. By testified it, I mean you haven't given proofs that you have worked in it. So you have written Java over there, but in your projects, in your internship experiences, I cannot see Java. Okay, so build out some projects on the skills which you actually mentioned there. That gives a plus point. There is a way to write your achievements. It's basically the XYZ thing. I stood, so let me give you the first example. I got opportunity at Credit Suisse. I was the finalist of Credit Suisse, Credit Suisse challenge. Okay, this is one part. This is one way of writing it. Now I'll tell you the other way, and now you see how different impact it creates. I stood in top 6 from 3,500 participating students all over India in a national level AI hackathon. This makes a difference, right? Both the things convey the same, but the second one is giving metrics. It is actually telling the recruiter that he stood in the top section. At least tell the skill, at least tell what your performance was. When it comes to creating projects, people are not trying to convert them into good products which are actually deployed. If you start doing that and writing, like I will write that I created a front-end application. Let's take, for example, I created a canteen management system. Okay. So a simple guy would write, developed a canteen management system using Java and something like that. What I will write is, developed a canteen management system for 300 plus for a or I'll say a canteen management system which can be used for 300 plus customers at a given point, and it has been currently deployed and 5 of different restaurants are currently using it. So that creates an impact. I would say it has 10 different types of features. It has the different, let's say, for example, login, sign up, and components are there. I'll try to mention what impact does it make rather than just saying what it is. That's one way to do it. Then you guys don't come up with standard professional resumes. Go to overleaf.com, overleaf.com, overleaf.com. There you will find many resumes. Just try to edit them and put it there. You are an engineer. It is a LaTeX language. I have never done LaTeX language in my life. It was just that I went there. I used to see that okay, वहाँ पे लिखा है experience, उसको change करके मैंने skills किया तो compile होने का skills दिखता है, तो वैसे मैंने change किया. I also don't know what LaTeX is. So again, you don't need to explicitly know how that LaTeX language works. So some people need to. You just need to edit and make sure your resume is looking good. Because what happens, बहुत बार ऐसे I've heard, I don't know what the truth is, but people say some companies use ATS. I've seen explicitly, I've actually seen one company using it. So that's, if your resume is not in a proper structure, it doesn't go in. You should be smart enough to know that if it is saying that graduation in 2022, your resume should explicitly mention expected graduation May 2022. You don't want to confuse the recruiter saying when are you graduating. So what I would do in such situations, I mean, these are a couple of things that make your resume pretty good enough. Okay.
Yeah.
I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it's really important when it comes to off-campus, and resumes become very essential things while applying. So it's great to hear these insights from you. Yeah, let's move towards our next question from Madhur.
Hi, Affan Bhaiya.
Hey, hi, Madhur.
My question is, are the same topics from your academics enough for your placement preparation?
A direct answer would be no. It is just part of it. You need to do something about it. Your academics will teach you data structures. You will have to learn its application. Your academic will teach you operating systems. You would have to learn how it is related to real life. You have to actually use, like for example, few things which never come in your academics. Version control systems never come in your academics. Writing clean code doesn't come in your academics. Test cases doesn't come in your academics. How to structure and modularize your code, that is not taught in your academics. Software engineering के patterns तो बता देते हैं कि agile है, waterfall model है, and other stuffs in software engineering subject you definitely know about it, but that's not actually, you haven't experienced it. You haven't experienced it in a real-time project. So you are not able to tell what is the importance of that particular concept. So I would say definitions are there, applications are not. You should there's a slight need of understanding. If you understand the base pretty much enough, the application will eventually come for you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So let's move to our next question from Aniket.
Hello, Bhaiya.
Yeah, hi, Aniket.
Bhaiya, as you know, many of the times we start to solve the problem, but somehow we can't maintain consistency. Can you tell how you have developed problem-solving skills and maintain the consistency while solving problems?
Okay, so I think I've written a post on this also. So let me start with saying, obviously you'll get frustrated when you're sitting down on lead code for the past 3 hours, right? Anyone gets frustrated. It's not like Affan is in Amazon, he doesn't get frustrated. Everyone does that. So there are ways to come out of it. You have to change the method of your study. So to start with, first very important thing is whatever things are tough for you. Let's take for example, graph is tough for you. Do that in the time where you're very much comfortable, very much interested to work. Let's say for example, in the morning I really love to study. If that's the case, I'll go and study the most difficult topic in the morning. But whereas it comes to afternoon, I am very sleepy, so during that time I'll do something which I like the most, and that would be eventually dynamic programming. So that way it happens, that increases your efficiency. Second thing is you try to change the modes of study. You are currently doing a YouTube video, you're frustrated. You're currently on lead code, you're frustrated about it. Just go to a YouTube videos like Kevin is a guy, Kevin Noggeton Jr. something like that. He creates YouTube videos on how to solve problems. Like basically, he's going to pick up lead code question and he's just going to solve it in front of you. So what I used to do when I used to get frustrated, I used to lay down on my bed in front of me and just play a 5-minute video. So that would eventually, I'm resting as well, and it's not breaking my consistency. So eventually what's going to happen is you are now not typing anything, but you are trying to learn things by video. If I got frustrated from video, I had a book, Cracking the Coding Interview. I used to read that. If that used to frustrated me, I used to go ahead with OSP and DBMS. Even if that was frustrating, I went ahead with object-oriented programming. If I was frustrated there, I used to go out and criticize my projects. Eventually something would be there which you would like to do, right? ऐसे नहीं होता है कि सभी चीज़ नहीं करनी है. So it varies. And one thing, just this is not on your question, but just slightly parallel to it. Whenever you guys are trying to do problem solving, don't just go on any random websites and hit the run button and submit button. I'll tell you what I used to do. Do that. It will really change your patience. First, you are fine. Let's take for example. So you open that lead code question, copy that entire question onto a Google Doc first. Now, Google Doc pe once you've copied, solve it there. Try to write the best possible code you can write. Try to use some coding principles. Try to see your syntax and everything. Now what you do, you're done with your code, test it there and there itself. Dry run the code. Then pick up your question. Then pick up your entire code. Now go to lead code and paste it. It's hardly a matter of alt tab. बाजू वाले tab में lead code open है. Go to that particular lead code account, now paste it there. First you will realize that you are making syntactical errors. तो आपको clear हो जाता है syntactical errors. तो ऐसे practice से क्या होता है कि आप ऐसा code लिखोगे जो run होता है. Then what's going to happen? Then use the run button. Once you run the button, don't pick up submit. Now you are going to try out test cases with edge and base cases. वो lead code just section run button that is explicitly given for you so that you build your own test cases. You can come up with test cases which fail your algorithm. Once you're satisfied that there are no test cases which are failing, run के ऊपर 5-6 बार run कर दिया अलग-अलग test cases लिए okay, then come submit. And that's how the cycle should work. The reason I'm asking everyone to Google Doc is because interviews के अंदर they don't explicitly say, like in my Amazon interview there was CodePad which is a completely blank Google Doc types. In my Google interview I did it on Google Docs. If you're not comfortable with these things, you'll struggle a lot. So when you get frustrated, you can simply change the method of doing stuff. I used to sometimes if I got frustrated, I used to simply watch conceptual videos on what is deadlock, what are processes and stuff like that. I hope that answers your question, how to maintain consistency.
Yeah. So the key point is it's all about the consistency that matters. And I personally remember you always say that there are so many things and so many resources that you can follow through your preparation, but it's not important where to study, what to study, but it's important whether you study or not. So yeah.
Exactly.
The next question is from Mohammad Darsh.
Hello, sir. Hello, ma'am. Sir, in the campus is placement competitive programming must?
Okay, so campus placement. So the competitive programming is something different. Problem solving is something different. I think a competitive program is using advanced data structures. Very much mathematical things are also involved. Different formulas and all. Game theory is one of the things which is in competitive programming. So that is the advanced level of it. I never went on to Kickstart. I used to practice in Kickstart, but I wouldn't say I went on to prepare for Kickstart. Hash code. I used to give those challenges, but explicitly I didn't use to prepare. For campus placements, having problem solving skills is enough, I guess. As far as my interviews were concerned, I was never asked out of the box questions like which I couldn't ever figure out in life. And even if they ask you some those type of questions, you should be smart enough to get the right hints. So it's not necessary, but doing competitive programming continuously, I would say problem solving builds up. Competitive programming is a method to actually build your problem solving ability. And interviewers are looking for problem solving ability. They're not looking for competitive coders. No one sits down there and does a DFS. Okay. They use that DFS to build up. In one of my products, we use DFS. There are graphs. There are definitely graphs. Those things are, you should be smart enough to understand how it is done, because it's not, you are not just given 45 minutes and you have to do a DFS algorithm on your job. But definitely you are given one day and you have to find out solutions to problem being asked. It is not guaranteed it will be a DFS. It can be a breadth search. It can be anything. It can be a mixture of bidirectional search bhi ho sakta hai. So you should be smart enough. In one of my experience at Credit Suisse, we wanted to search bonds. Okay, basically bonds. We wanted to search for bonds. So there were like 57,000 bonds, and those were linearly listed in a list. The search was, because it was not ordered, the search was taking order of 56,000 iterations. That's where it stuck to my mind, hey, I can use a try here. I know the space will increase, but eventually the complexity would be order of 12, because 12 is the maximum size of a particular name of a bond. So that's where I reduced it from 57,000 right up to 12 operations. So that is problem solving. It's a competitive programming is different. It's about solving things within that small amount of time, or doing that mathematical formulas and stuff like that. So yeah, it's not necessary.
Is for problem solving, GFG and lead code is best?
Yeah, that's enough. Like I said, how to do it, lead code. Go to Google, type it there, come back to lead code and submit it.
Okay, thank you, sir. And sir, 12th and 12th percentage matter in campus or off campus placement?
During my internships, there were some companies, one or two, I would say, which were explicitly asking. But I cannot comment on that because it varies from company to company. Some don't even care. Some explicitly ask out.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, sir. Thanks, ma'am.
Yeah. The next question is from Yash Parmar.
Hello, Affan Bhaiya. Yes, Parmar. My question was, I use lead code, suggested me to use lead code. I do it consistently. But what happens is, when I solve a question, after 15 to 20 days, I go back again to that question and try to solve it again. Okay, same happened with me when one of the interview. I solved a question on lead code. Same interview question was asked by interviewer, but I was able to come up with logic, but not the exact code, which I have already written the code with all accepted answer. But at that point, I was not able to clearly code that question. Then I came back again on lead code. I tried to code it, but some logical error was there, and it came up with me for 2 to 3 questions. It did with 2 to 3.
Yeah.
So how to maintain that कि जो मैंने कोड कर दिया है उसको अगर फिर से पूछा गया तो मैं कोड कर पाऊँ फिर से. I am making some mistake somewhere. So can you guide me for that?
One thing is, so I faced that same issue, and I realized that when I used to go back to my question, I was confused. Is this even my code? Because it's 3 months down the line, I've written, is this even my code? So that's where I understood, like, you don't have to, it's not just once you solve, it's going to be there with you. Don't target just the questions, target concepts. When you had solved that, thing, you were having this like, this is how it is done. When I solve a question, I try to find the derivation point of it. I don't want to learn that question. I don't want to explicitly know what are the 6 steps involved. I want to know the first step and derive the second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. So when you're facing that problem, that was because when you had done it first time, that was I realized that when I had done it first time, I had in mind that these are the 6 steps need to be done. But when I started understanding more about it, I realized that it's practically impossible to remember each and every problem how it is done. So it's important to remember how to derive it. Like, that DFS is going to work. You have done DFS a lot of time, but how you shouldn't have that in mind that first there would be, like, you shouldn't have that in mind. I have to create one function here and then another function below. Wo recursion mein jayega. You don't have to have that in mind. You have to basically pick up that DFS and actually trace it. Like, okay, I'm going to be on the first node, and from there I'm going to go on to its first branch, and I'm going to recursively call that function. So that particular thing, it should be in a derivable format rather than a format that I know how to do DFS. It should be in a derivable format. So once you start doing things in derivable format, it will really help you a lot. And the second aspect, which I realized, the reason I was not able to understand or remember my code was because I was not using the right practices. Coding के practices होते हैं, clean code कैसे लिखना है and stuff like that. You can just YouTube that. So now when I started doing that, whenever I go back to my code, I know what I had done. I can clearly point out each and every line what I had done. So these are the two things. Try to remember things in a derivable way, not in a way that you had done this question. I know the 6 steps. I'm going to do it in this way. That creates a problem.
Okay, thank you. Can I ask you one more question regarding the switch between your companies? Like you were working in a Credit Suisse and you went to Amazon. Okay, so can you? We don't have YouTube videos for how switch happens in real life. So can you quickly explain those things कि कैसा होता है प्रोसेस, फिर 1 महीने का जो वो होता है कि करना पड़ेगा आपको, फिर 1 महीने बाद आप वहाँ पे जाके ज्वाइन करते हो वो जो, क्योंकि ये चीज़ें YouTube पे नहीं है ये.
Okay, so first thing is you are just a student right now. इतना जल्दी switch के बारे में मत सोचो, but it's good to share experiences. So first important thing is you never tell anyone at your company that you are even giving interviews. Okay, no one has to know that you're going through an interview. Then what happens is you start giving your interviews. I remember like 12 to 12:30 was my meeting. Then I have my 12:30 to 1 was my meeting. 1 to 1:30 I was eating my food. 1:30 I had my prayer and stuff, and 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock I'm giving my interview on Friday. This is in my work day at Credit Suisse. I was giving Amazon interview, and after that 3:30 to 4 again I had a meeting at Credit Suisse. So no one ever knew that I was giving an interview from 2 to 3. So that's the first thing, you never tell them. Then what happens is once you crack that interview, the recruiter gets back to you, negotiation happens, you negotiate with your salary and stuff. Then you have to wait. You still don't have to tell, even after the ex-recruiter tells you you've been selected. You don't have to tell it anywhere, no one, just your family and you. And your mentors, if you have any. I didn't have any, but then what happens is then an offer letter comes, which is an official documentation from the company. You have to sign that, send it back to, let's say for example, for me it was Amazon, send it back to Amazon. Then call up your manager and say, hey, I got another opportunity, and be very polite that I want to resign right now. Your manager will explicitly tell you, don't tell anyone in the company, because the notice period is for 2 months. I remember on March 29th, I told my manager, and May 20th was my last day. You have to tell your recruiter that I have a notice period of 2 months. So I told my recruiter I have a notice period of 2 months. My recruiter told me, will you be willing to join on May 31st? I said, I want a break in life. I want to enjoy my life a little bit. I don't want to just keep on Monday to Friday code. I'm not that guy. So I told them, let's shift it. So she said, just give me any Monday you are willing to join. So I gave her the next Monday, 7th of June. And so on May 20th, I left Credit Suisse. on May 27th and 20th, that's when I told my entire team that I'm moving on to a new company. So there are some people whom you actually work with, and there is your bigger team. So the people you actually work with, your manager will eventually tell them you have to do some knowledge transfer sessions, like whatever you've done, you have to teach them, you have to say, this is how my code is. I didn't have to do that much because eventually my code was well documented and I had created wikis for it. So no one need to even, I used to just share out wikis, and then I used to take a 15-minute question answer session on whatever doubts people had. Then eventually that sync up ends up with your manager. You should ask for recommendations. I asked my manager, he gave me one on LinkedIn. So he wrote a very good recommendation. Then you should move ahead to your next company. But never, never, ever tell anyone when you are switching companies. It's a conflict of interest for the company, because ऐसे होता है कि people at that your previous organization might think that he's getting a better opportunity. Why wouldn't I? So that happens.
So yeah.
Thank you, bhai. Thank you.
Yeah. Now the question is from Param Kulkarni.
एक्चुअली माय क्वेश्चन इज जो हम सर्टिफिकेशन करते हैं लैंग्वेजेस के, उसकी कुछ वैल्यू है कि नहीं?
I've never done one. Let's be frank. And courses, certifications do add value to your learning, but the point is pretty simple. Everything is available on YouTube. What's the point of paying something? But it doesn't make a difference at the student level, I would say. But there are some industry certifications which are very important, like Salesforce. My elder sister is a Salesforce and Salesforce lead. If she does some certification in Salesforce, it will really matter. So those kind of certifications do matter. Now, if you're going to do certifications in machine learning at Coursera, and then you're going to come up and say you have done so and so machine learning course, hire me as a machine learning engineer, that won't actually matter a lot. That's what I've seen. I've not done any course, so I didn't even need one of the courses to be done. I always learned from free resources. And I believe that YouTube has everything. You have 15 to 20 teachers teaching you. Why would you want to pay for something then? Go and go for courses. Those are good enough when you're at a level when you don't know anything. You're just a very, very new beginner. You don't know anything, and there's a course being offered. It's okay to do that, but those don't add value to your resume. One of my final interviews, which is the deciding interview at Amazon, bar raiser interview, he explicitly asked me, it was written on my resume that I know React. I had done a basic application, front-end application in React. He asked me explicitly, how did you learn about it? And he mentioned it. Did you do a course? Or how did you learn it? I told him it was through blogs and YouTube videos, and he was very happy about it. I told him that depending on the requirement, I was able to see what is needed for me, because if a course is giving you 20 things and your job is only requiring the 2 things from it, you don't have that much time to spend so much amount of time. Certifications at industry level do matter, but as a student for interviews, I'm not so towards it. Like, it would not matter that much.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. That's good to hear, Affan. So up till now, we have covered many questions from different topics and domains. So lastly, I have one question for you. So by all your dedication and all your hard work, you are a proud Amazonian today. So, but what are your future aspirations and expectations about your career in your life?
Okay, so when I was Credit Suisse, I wanted to go to the next level. Okay, so switching to parallel companies wouldn't make sense. Switching to the next level was making sense. So I went to Amazon. Now there is no next level. Amazon is the world's biggest company. It's the world's best company. My director even says that you don't need, once you are in Amazon, you don't need to go anywhere, I guess. Everything, like literally what kind of work you want, which location you want, literally everything is available there. So I don't think now it's about growing. Now it's about going to some XYZ organization. That's pretty much clear on my end. What I want to do is become an SDM someday, software development manager, lead out my own products. Like I've seen my manager, I'm pretty much impressed by his profile, and I really look forward to becoming like him. So it's basically, he's more of a solution architect, I would say. He has designed many systems. The ones which I work on, he has designed it. So my career aspirations are to grow as a software engineer now, build up my skills, and add value to myself. That's the reason you wouldn't find me on YouTube. That's the reason I'm very, tons of people have suggested me. You explain a lot. So you explain in a very good format. Why don't you have your own YouTube channel? Why don't you go and do podcast? Why don't you simply create one? So that's where my ambition is. Instead of spending time on creating YouTube content which is already available, I prefer adding some value to myself and going to higher levels of software engineering, because there's tons and tons of things to learn. It's not just DSL goes. It's not just React.js. It's not just Angular. It's software engineering and problem solving as an engineer. How do you tackle problems? I want to become a master of that. Yeah. So those are my ambitions. And in future, I mean, I do have an interest to, actually lead an entire product. I mean, that's what I want to become. That's on my target.
Yeah. So that was really great answer, I must say. I guess now we'll close the Q&A session. So yeah, it was really a wonderful session today. And just to summarize, today we have taken all the questions right from guide to DSL Go preparation, interview experience, resume building, and much more things, right? So these are the important topics and that the majority of students face while they are preparing for their placements. So yeah. So yes, today
I just want to add one thing at the last. These are my opinions. Whatever I've spoken about, it varies from people to people. Like, it actually varies from person to person, I would say. What are the different opinions, whether you want to do DSA, whether you want to go with development and stuff like that. I would say hear out more people. But what I've seen, one thing is, like, people are spending their time, most of the time, trying to just get answers to their questions, not actually trying to go to the next level or build their skills. So you heard me out on one question. It shouldn't happen that you're going and asking the same question again to 5 or 6 people. It's good to take a second opinion. It's good to read some blogs on it. That's it. Just stop finding mentors, I would say. I didn't have one. You don't explicitly need someone to always be there for you. You can learn from YouTube. Start self-feeding yourself. That is an important skill which changes you as an engineer. Self-feeding, teaching yourself. You should not just target that I want to just be a good engineer at XYZ company. You should even target Affan is right now. I want to come at that level and speak out in front of 60 people. Or I should be called in to a particular podcast or a particular YouTube channel or communities like Easy Code. And that's what I would suggest. Have your own opinions, decide what suits you the best, and take decisions for yourself. Start self-feeding. It will really take you a long way. All right?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much, Affan. And as you said, that it depends from person to person. There are so many people who have learned a lot of things by a mentor, and there are so many people who have learned everything by self as well. So it depends on your personal choice and your personal interest and your personal history, what you have been pursuing since a decade or from your academics. So thank you very much for having such a fruitful discussion and answering all the essential questions by our students. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. Happy Independence Day again. Bye.
Happy
Happy
Independence Day.
Independence